afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you and call to order the Thursday, October 21st, 2021 Watertown Board of Adjustment meeting. Can I get a roll call, Brandy?
Yes. Brink.
Here.
Aletsky.
Present.
Dargis Johnson.
Here.
Hanson. Here. Dolly.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
And then Kays, Culhane, and Spire absent. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Brandy. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 7th, 2021 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look those over? Need a motion and a second for approval.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I have a motion by Brink. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that, Bonnie.
Second by Aletsky. Any additional discussion on those? All right, we'll take a vote.
All right. Dolly.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Brink.
Yes.
Aletsky.
Yes.
Dargis Johnson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 4 on the regular agenda. 4A is board consideration of a conditional use request for apartments over 4 units using the upper floors of commercial buildings in the C1 Community Commercial District located at 315 East Kemp. Brandy?
All right. Thank you, Blake. So as Blake just described, this is a conditional use request similar to the action we took last meeting when we looked at the Marketplace project. This is the Ruins project, and so the owner is the Ruins LLC, and it's located at 315 East Kemp Avenue in the location where the former Palace Apartments were. And I'll pull up that map here in your agenda packet. So it'll go within this location, and now the Palace Apartments, as we all know, are demolished. And so then this is in conjunction, this project, with the Foundation Plaza project, community project there taking place throughout the city's the parking lot, that public parking here on the map. And then the senior center will be demoed as well. And then so the park will extend throughout that whole vicinity. And then the Ruins project is a mixed use commercial and residential development. And then so the footprint of the property that the Ruins LLC will be conveyed is shown here on this plat map. And council has approved to convey a portion of that property where the senior center sits as a joint effort for implementing some community space on this first floor of this new building. So on the first floor, there will be let me get there. So there will be the apartments will be on the second, third, and fourth floors, and then with office and party rental space associated with the Foundation Plaza project on the main floor. And then as far as parking goes, they will have 64 enclosed off-street parking spaces. Oh, for the record, Kays has joined us. Welcome. And then they have 5 parking spots adjacent to the building that is on-street parking. And overall, there will be 78 bedrooms. And so, like you guys know, there is no parking minimum requirement in the C1 district, which this is zoned C1 community commercial being downtown. But if it were like other zones, we would look at an apartment unit having one parking space per bedroom. And so the total bedrooms would be 78. He'll have 64 enclosed, and then 5 on-street adjacent to the building, and then the on-street parking for several blocks surrounding, typical for downtown development to have the on-street parking. To go through some of the other site plans that were provided so you guys can have an idea for the different, so this is the first floor where the parking will be, and then the community space for public bathrooms for the plaza. And then the second, third, and fourth are all apartment units. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Okay, I have a question on this first floor. That stuff to the left, go up right there. How's that attached to the building?
So that's just a zoomed in view.
Oh, a zoomed in view of that right there.
Yep.
Oh, never mind.
So
So
parking's on
Brandy,
the main
we-
floor?
Yep. And it's
We're looking at this
enclosed.
as a, sorry.
No, you go ahead,
We're
Blake.
looking at
Sorry.
this as a mixed use, conditional use, and it says, over a commercial first floor. But the commercial space here of that first floor plan is what looks to be about only 4,800 square foot of it, the rest of it being the parking garage.
Yes.
And that space that's there, that commercial space, is primarily for use with the adjacent park, the
Yep.
future park.
Yep. Yep, and so then that's really to reiterate with the conditional use request, we are looking at using, it's the conditional use for apartments when there's over 4 units above commercial space. And so sometimes, commercial space in general, where if you would have a parking garage of some sort, that is ideal for a downtown situation where there will be higher density.
Yep. But this is not going to necessarily have storefronts in the first floor.
No, it'll just be for the city space to have adjacent to the park.
Right.
Brandy, this is Ford.
Yep.
With that space that's going to be used for the park and the restrooms, I believe you said, that's inside this privately owned building, who maintains that space?
The city will have a rental agreement, probably like a 99-year lease.
So the city will be responsible for that small portion of that building.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, Brandy, what's going to be just, like south or below or whatever from that public area, and then you have like a door to the outside, and then what's that going to be?
I believe that's for refuse. So
For
that-
what?
For garbage collection. So, and with it being
No. With doors and everything?
the lobby. That'll be the lobby area.
Oh, the lobby area to the whole apartment building?
Yep.
So when you walk in to visit somebody, you walk in there, and then you take the elevator or the steps up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably will have mail and those
Yeah.
types of things there.
Sorry, the garbage collection area, I thought that's further to the north. And then that will be off of the alley. And they'll have to have a private commercial hauler. The city, with it being mixed use, the city doesn't do garbage collection, so they don't have to worry about having room for the receptacles.
Mr. Chair?
Was,
Oh, Blake, Mr. Blake,
Yep.
this is Case. Quick question. So I just want to get back, to me, the use is fine and what they're planning on. I do know that the question of parking is probably one of the biggest things that we should be looking at, even though we're not required to have parking. You said 74 bedrooms,
78.
64 cars. They've got some off-street parking that's going to be located. The question I think that's still from a planning perspective is that once that park opens up, there will be more parking on street, off-street parking that's going to be needed to accommodate that. And we're relatively 15 spaces short to accommodate the parking that's going to be used by this location. And there was questions and comments at a previous planning commission meeting or city council meeting by the gentleman that owns some property across the road, losing parking spaces. If you remember that, as the guy with the sewing machines, there was a meeting someplace that they were addressing, maybe at the city council. So I think that is something that we still need to be thinking a little bit about, is we are going to be short with parking for this one specific use. It's not like a commercial uses where people are going to be coming and going. There are theoretically, people could be parking there 24 hours a day. If they go on vacation and they leave their car there, we're going to have parking impacted by the downtown park that's going to be immediately adjacent to it. So we're short parking to accommodate this specific use. And so what did staff really think about? Any other solutions?
So as far as parking on street, I believe that there are rules in place that if they are parked there for a certain amount of time, that the police could ticket them or tow them, especially when there is a snow event over 2 inches. But I think that there's also something for over 48 hours, I shouldn't even say, but
we're setting ourselves up by approving the project as is with the parking that they're not going to be able to accommodate within their own structure themselves for potential conflicts moving forward for 6 months out of the year when there is snow removal, and those people are going to be parking in the street, correct?
Even when that was Palace Apartments, they had a very difficult time with parking, and they would park in that city parking lot that's the senior citizen, and they used to call them and have them towed.
But there won't be any parking because that was where the new park is
Yeah, I know
gonna
it, but
be.
even then, there's going to be more apartments now here than then.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just saying, are we being short-sighted by not, I understand that there is no parking requirement downtown. It doesn't mean that we can't apply a parking requirement down there, or you can't find a way to put other parking requirements on there as a condition. And I'm not trying to kill the project. I'm saying I think we are setting ourselves up for potential problems being 15 spaces short to accommodate the needs of this building without other public parking, off-street parking in the area.
So with the plaza project, we are planning to incorporate additional parking.
Brandy, I think that there is an attachment, or there should be an attachment that shows that. I added it to the website. I don't know if it's where it's pulling from, but we added the downtown park on there.
Where the park is going to be to location to this building?
Yes.
Okay.
And there is an attachment that is supposed to be appearing here. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's just recently added?
Yeah.
Okay,
And you
let me
plan to
refresh.
have those people that use the park in across the street?
So that's what we're going to look at here. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
I was going to show you guys there. It'll be
Yeah.
to the north.
Yeah.
And then there will be the on-street parking all along the park area, because we would propose that third would be vacated. I can look it up just on the files too, Stacy.
okay. I'm sorry about that. It should have been added.
I wonder.
Did we
The other
vote on
thing,
closing
the other thing
third?
that we've looked at, Todd, in the area, and as we've had some of the other discussions, is that the one thing that I guess is substantially different about the downtown area and what we're trying to promote with the walkability of the neighborhood, is that there are additional public parking areas downtown. And while we will lose that one that's immediately adjacent to where the Palace was previously, there's still a substantial amount of public parking in a 2-3 block square area there.
Right. And that's the thing with downtown areas and on-street parking is there really are quite a few spaces there on that side of Kemp that are not full at all times.
Where's the closest public parking to this location once we're at fully development with the parking, with the new buildings and the park? How far away? It's
I
behind
think
the
the
it's behind the
closest
old
one's
harbor,
probably
right?
by the bus terminal there, right? That's considered public parking.
Oh gosh, I should find that map.
No, but isn't there public parking where it already is public parking to the south of County Fair?
Well, and then that will
that's gonna
be
be part
part
of
of
the
the
park.
park.
Part of the park.
Yeah.
Did we get that site plan uploaded?
I just sent it to you by email.
Okay.
I apologize for that, Brandy. I thought it went, but for some reason it must not have.
No problem, we'll get that. Just as long as maybe I don't share my screen.
Because on First Avenue, across the street from them apartments, there where my office used to be at, and it's like the access to that power plant or whatever the city has, you can't park in there. Only city people can park there.
All I'm saying is that if you go to Minneapolis, you were talking about walkability, but when I'm building an apartment complex, I either have to have parking on site or I have to have some place where there's leased parking. And that's basically what we're proposing here. We're proposing a building that's going to have needs for more parking that's one that's being accommodated on site, or we have city parking available within close proximity.
And just to, I mean, really for their, so 64 spaces, 78 bedrooms, and then 63 units. And so not every unit is going to necessarily have somebody that has a vehicle,
Right.
but, and they could.
What is the agreement going to be? Are they allocating one space per unit, or how are they divvying these out?
I would imagine.
Because this is gated parking, right? Private parking?
Yep, it'll be it's enclosed, so they'll need access.
Brandy, so the property at 325 East Kemp, that is also an apartment complex. And I guess I'm not familiar with how many units are in there, but do we know, do they have adequate parking for their residents, and, or are we 10 units, 10 spots short for that property as well?
Isn't that a eightplex?
I have no idea.
Sorry,
what it is.
Jason, which property?
325 East Kemp, to the east of the proposed building, right there, correct?
Oh, okay. And you think that they're short?
I have no idea. I'm just, again, are we compounding a problem?
And I would rather just focus on this site. I don't know, I mean, we could do.
That property to the east likely predates the ordinance change that we made around the one parking place per bedroom.
Correct. And I guess my point is that I don't know if they can gate off or sign that, you know, again, if there's an event in the park, are people
Yeah.
going to utilize what should be private parking as a public use? And again, I'm just curious to see, yeah, again, I don't know if it's a eightplex and they've got plenty of parking, or, you know, again, just trying to look at the big picture of.
So you can see
And then
here,
isn't Eric Scott going to have more apartments farther west on Kemp Avenue up above that he's fixing? You know, so that'll be more parking.
that's all the way further to the west.
No, maybe a block.
Talking the old Bratland building,
Yeah.
where Bratland's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see here, this is the map of the downtown, the concept plan. There will be additional on-street parking for the park itself. And then I believe there are also plans to potentially have some nearby parking north of the park.
Where north of the park? Where would you fit north of the park? That's County Fair's parking lot.
No,
Unless you're talking the 3rd Street, vacating all of 3rd Street to the north.
well, and
But
I
don't
shouldn't speak to
forget
that.
that across the alley onto First Avenue and 3rd Street right there.
Yep.
That has 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 apartments there too. And they have off-street parking, one for each apartment.
on
It's
the, yep,
always full.
along First.
And this will have
And
one
in
for
the
each
back
apartment.
too.
Yeah, one for each unit,
Yeah.
but not the per bedroom. Yeah.
So I guess a solution you guys could provide would be to only approve 63 bedrooms or 64 bedrooms.
To me,
I'm not sure I'm there, but as far as-
to me, I'm personally okay with one parking space per bedroom, per unit, or per unit. Yes, thank you. That's what they have. I feel that sometimes we require too many parking spaces. We have some businesses, especially, around town where their parking lot never gets full, and it's part of, that's because of how many we require, and yes, it will be it'll stink for someone that has two vehicles if they have to park a block away, especially in the middle of winter. But at the same time, if I'm signing a lease and, it's me and my best friend and they say, oh, well, you get one parking spot and we both have a vehicle, I mean, we'll know that at that time we sign it, and maybe we'll say, hey, we'll go to a different apartment unit. So to me, having the 64 enclosed parking spaces for a 63 unit apartment complex in the downtown area where no parking is technically required, to me meets what I would ask them to do.
I don't have a problem with it. I just make sure that we do 15 now, and then we do another 15, and we do another 15, and do another 15. Exponentially, at some point in time, you're gonna have a mess. Or the city's gonna be doing like what they had to do in Sioux Falls, start a parking, an elevated parking thing that they can't get finished and have multi-million dollars. And then it becomes a taxpayer issue for everybody in the community, not just those living downtown, right? And so I don't have a problem, again, with the one unit, 64, but I think that would be a condition that I would place, is that the owner knows that they have to provide one unit or one parking spot per unit in their lease agreements.
And I think that's a reasonable way to approach it, and I do think that the area downtown here is substantially different than we talk about, residential, which is really where, we come up with that one per bedroom to try to eliminate some of the issues that we're seeing in more residential style neighborhoods. There's substantially different parking situations between the downtown neighborhood and some of the residential developments.
And I just know that there are going to be businesses as we see more, and I'm all for more people living downtown. I think it's great, but there are going to be people saying we want people to live downtown because they're going to shop downtown. But if there's nobody can park in front or within 2 blocks of my store, we're going to hear that. Whether there's any validity to those complaints, I don't know. But that's just, again, how do we format the discussion?
And I think that's the overall redevelopment of downtown and changing that mentality of how downtowns are supposed to function,
Right.
where there is the walkability component. And I think the first step, if we run into a parking problem, would be looking at meter parking or what downtowns typically do.
I used to live downtown, Watertown. I lived on a street where couldn't park over 2 inches of snow. I mean, my vehicle was parked there all year. When it snowed, I had to drive to a nearby side street where I could park and then walk farther. I was in my 20s. It worked out great. I mean, this is what these apartments are generally advertised for. I know they won't discriminate against other people, but, someone has to get out and move their car to a side street, walk back to their apartment. They can do it. I mean, I know they can. I've done it.
Yep. I did the same thing in my 20s too, Jeff, downtown Watertown. So it's good.
Anyway, I didn't mean to suck up so much oxygen, but I just thought we just needed to at least address the parking issue.
Hey, just for the record, I see Mr. Culhane has joined us.
Oh, welcome, Liam.
Sorry I'm late, guys.
That is all right.
I don't believe I've opened the public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing at this time. If anybody's here to speak on behalf or against, or anybody on Teams.
There's no one here, just to let you know, so unless there's
Okay.
someone online.
Last call online here. Close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
It's been really good discussion on this item.
I'll
I have
make a
just one more
motion to
comment
approve.
Before you do that, Todd, just one more. Is there any need to have a secondary exit out of that parking? For fire, for safety? There's only one way in and one way out, guys. I'm just throwing that out there.
And we would have, our building officials actually, and the fire department are reviewing plans right now. So if it is required by code, we would require it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with the caveat that the applicant just prove to the city that there is some sort of agreement in place with his tenants that there is one parking space per unit.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. Any additional discussion on this?
Question, since I am a landlord. I can charge you extra for that. No, I'm saying, I feel that that shouldn't be, because then that is forcing that person out. I think that that should be included in the rent. Do you see what I'm saying? The wording of that, Todd, is, so, okay, I've got 65 spots, but, I'm providing you one, but I'm gonna charge you extra for that. To some degree, I think that's pushing them out into the street again. See what I'm saying?
No, what I'm saying is that
So-
every apartment has the right to use one space in the underground
Okay,
parking.
perfect. Okay, that's how I want you to say it. Thanks.
That's how I understood too. That's what I was seconding, so.
All right. Ready for a roll call? All
Take a
right.
vote.
Dolly,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Culhane,
Yes.
Kays,
Yep.
Brink,
Yes.
Aletsky,
Yes.
Dargits Johnson,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Oh, I thought you were chair. Okay.
I believe that's the only item on the regular agenda. And next item on the agenda was the open public comments, but I believe nobody's in the room. Is there anybody online to speak in the public on something that wasn't on today's agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. Is there any new business?
None that I have.
Any from the board? How about old business?
None, other than just the South Dakota Planners Association Annual Conference is this coming Tuesday night to Thursday. We have the business meeting Tuesday evening, and so that's out in Rapid City. So many of city's staff will be in attendance at that conference. If anyone tries to be in contact, we'll make sure that we have our automatic replies on the emails, but we'll be in touch on Friday.
Sounds good. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second, Colleen.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thanks all.
Thank you.